recording because before he comes on, tell me a little bit about Bob. I'm not sure that I know him.
You may not. I mean, he started coming to my Bible study, oh, I don't know, like a couple of years ago. And, I would drive in early so I could miss the traffic when I was there on Monday nights. And so, you know, through just knowing him, we started just having a quick dinner before the class and got to be friends. And I know he's done the Catholic Bible Institute at LMU. And he listens, he loves people like Felix Just and a few other people. And so he does a lot of this stuff because he's retired. And he had a stroke about 3 years ago where it kind of affected his memory and speech, but he's doing really, really well. I mean, it's amazing. And then, at Good Shepherd.
By the way, just a little sideline. You know that Felix Just has become the continuing formation director for the Archdiocese for priests.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he's around. I mean, I remember seeing him at Congress, and I don't think, wasn't he in Chicago or something? I think at one point, I'm not sure.
I think he was for a time, and then he was, he came back here to LMU, and he's been here for quite a number of years, I think. But I was a little bit surprised because for the most part, quite frankly, the continuing formation directors for the continuing formation of the clergy directors have been not terribly exciting people, and not terribly creative in trying to develop new programs and new ways of reaching out using the internet and all of that kind of stuff. And Felix seems to be all of those.
Yeah, I heard him at Congress, and I don't know enough. And he did during one of the Bible studies, he did something that Bob attended, and he sent it to me, and it looked really interesting, but I couldn't go because I was doing the other thing. All these things are so many concurrent meetings that it's like, I mean, I remember at one point I had 2 computers going with 2 different meetings trying to pay attention to both. It was like impossible.
Yeah, my heavens. So
anyway,
a little more about Bob.
So he and I and a couple other people, do you remember Jen Lebrecht from Good Shepherd? Young girl, very vibrant. She did a PhD. Jen.
Oh, Jen, yes. Oh, yeah, very well.
So she's in Oklahoma teaching at the university and just married this Methodist preacher who's really good. I watched one of his sermons on Proverbs, and it was really amazing. He's really good. So they just got married a few weeks ago, and he's got 2 kids from his previous marriage. So she's out there teaching and was telling us about, all the people out there, don't want a mask. And one of her kids showed up with COVID and they don't know what to do. And she's all in a tizzy because, she wants the kids to wear masks, but yet, Oklahoma is Oklahoma,
Right.
So she and me and Bob, and remember Kevin Fisher? You might remember his name.
Yeah.
So the 4 of us, basically, I mean, we invite other people, but it seems like we're the core, do this Bible study on Thursday nights where we do the readings for the coming Sunday, and we go over it together and socialize and talk about what's going on and et cetera. So that's really a good group too.
Good. Has Kevin Fisher gotten married?
No, but he's still with, I mean, as far as I know, I think he's with Robin. His girlfriend's name is Robin, but they haven't gotten married. So I think they've been together for a while.
Okay. Yeah, because I ran across a couple of Facebook posts where it may have been Robin that he mentioned. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so that is that Bible study still going?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the 4 of us, and
online?
I mean, Yeah, we do it online.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
Yeah, because we're all in different places. Bob's on
Right.
the west side somewhere, I think near Westchester, and Kevin is, I'm not sure, in Hollywood or something somewhere, and then Jen's in Oklahoma. So we do the Zoom thing.
Uh-huh. Oh, good. When do you have it?
Thursday nights from 6:30 to 7:30.
Okay. Well, maybe you want to invite me sometime.
Yeah, sure. I'll send you the link for this week. I may not be there this week because I'm leaving Thursday night to take the train to Chicago to see my aunt, and I'll be gone
Mm,
all week. So
mhm.
I just have to get out of here, and it's the only window I have. I just need a vacation. I need a break from everything.
Uh-huh. Now, does
So,
that train stop in Pomona?
it stops. It doesn't stop at Claremont, so I have to take the Metrolink to San Bernardino.
San Bernardino,
And,
okay.
and then there's a stop there, which is great. So I don't have to go all the way downtown to catch it at Union
Yeah.
Station.
Yeah, good.
And then I go to Naperville, which is not exactly Chicago. So, and then my brother picks me up and takes me to the hotel. So,
I've always had a bit of fascination with trains too. I noticed that you mentioned in one of your posts.
yeah, this place I saw as I woke up yesterday and, look at my phone and saw this event happening in Chicago for the Pullman Monument, where they used to make the trains, and Pullman built, all the Pullman cars, and all the porters were there, and they had a whole, I never knew. And, they had housing and everything. That was the unions back then. They housed the people like Tiffany. They built these communities and, housed their people, fed them, paid them, and they worked,
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, those were the days.
yeah, and we might take example of that and do a little bit of that, in a different way now.
Well, the old WPA, or maybe before that, I don't know. I know for number of the huge projects that the government did, they would build housing, community housing, like for Hoover Dam and
Oh,
Glen Canyon Dam and places like that. Bob Doerr has just entered the room, so
oh, great. Okay.
I admitted him.
Great.
Come on, Bob, where are you? There you come.
Hey, Bob. I guess he's connecting.
Still connecting. He did not connect to audio. Now he's connecting again.
Sometimes it's weird. It works and it doesn't work. Hey, Bob.
There he is.
Good morning.
Hello, Bob.
Morning, Father. How you doing?
I'm
Hello,
well,
Jim.
thank you. How are you?
I have to say Shana Tova.
Okay, that sounds good to me. And I presume that means good.
Well, I could say kenosis, but I forgot what it meant.
Oh. Well, let's see. Kenosis means that you've emptied yourself out like Jesus, who did not cling to his divinity.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome.
Which we should all do in the morning before we do this, is empty ourselves completely before we start.
Yeah. But then some of us keep refilling ourselves.
Exactly.
I believe it was Augustine who said that I was throwing myself into the wrong things.
So the last 10 minutes or so, Jan has been telling me about you. I don't know, have we ever met?
I saw you once. I came right 5 years ago. You were at a funeral. You came in to say hello to everybody at the Bible study on a Saturday morning.
Oh, okay.
You looked a little younger, but so did I guess.
5 years ago?
Yeah.
Most
Janice stays the same.
right, of
Oh.
course.
I don't think so.
The ladies always do.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because I spent a lot of time since yesterday thinking, what would I say if somebody asked myself? Like someone's already told me, you know.
Mhm.
Did you say that I went to LA Unified, Janice?
Did I? No, I didn't.
Okay.
So you
Well,
can
that's
fill that in.
important. I have to show you that I'm a radical. You know? As a teacher that wanted the kids to be safe. Or so. No, I don't want to get into politics, of course. That's no.
Well, we touch on them every now and then indirectly, but we try to stay in the spirituality of politics and life,
Well,
justice,
you know,
and all that.
you know, Tom, I happened to go back a couple of weeks. I happened to catch in the part about pornography. I thought that was fantastic. that we hardly ever hear that anymore in homilies.
You happen to catch me in what?
Did I say it? But I say it right? Pornography. As a,
Pornography. Yeah.
no, that's out of context. I said it out of context. You were saying in the you can't just go to the confession and say, I'm sorry for doing something wrong, and let you go, Hail Mary.
Oh, okay.
That was the point. Sorry. I threw you off.
Ah, okay. So yeah, but you know, if I've been subconsciously moonlighting as a porn star, nobody's paid me for it. But anyway, we're going to be starting in about 5 minutes on Facebook, so I'm wondering, what should we talk about?
Well, look, I'll ask you a question. I see that you're from Van Nuys as a
Yes.
child, right?
Right?
Did you go to St. Elizabeth's?
I did.
Well, there you go. I don't know what the next line is, that I knew Father.
Did you?
No, but I knew a good friend at St. Anastasia, Father Mike. Oh, shoot. He was there. Then he came out to St. Anastasia. Oh. Anyhow, I kind of like to know what school everybody's from. I can stereotype the parish and the Bishop Ahmad, Loyola High, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What high school? Oh, you said you were okay. What, you went to St. Elizabeth as a grammar school?
Yeah, back in the 1950s.
Yeah.
From about 1948, I guess, to 56, maybe
Did you
49.
have nuns? Did you have nuns for all the classes?
Yeah, Sisters of Providence. Actually, I never did have a lay teacher, which was interesting. There were 1 or 2 lay teachers in the school at that time, but they were mostly all nuns. And Sisters of Providence of St. Mary of the Woods, Indiana.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
I was St. Ethelrita, which actually there is a St. Ethelrita. She was Scottish. And I was Sisters of Mercy through 6th grade. And then my parents pulled me out because there was, I think probably because there was a scandal in the gym by one of the lay teachers. And so my mother probably got upset and she said, no more, and we're going to public school. So we did 7th and 8th grade in public school at Highlands. And then LTHS, Lyons Township High
And
School.
there's never any scandals in public schools.
Yeah, right. Exactly. At least in the 50s. In the 50s, there weren't.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Back in around just before 2000, before the Spotlight, Boston Globe Spotlight stuff, when the child sexual abuse by Catholic clergy was beginning to hit the news, and of course it seemed like they were the ones doing it. That was the problem just with the Catholic Church. And I remember a researcher named Carol Shapeshaft from Hofstra University did a rather exhaustive study, and it was published in Education Week. It was serialized in Education Week over 4 or 5 issues, I think, about the cover-ups in public education
Mm.
of child molesters, and the prevalence, the frequency of superintendents moving quote problem teachers from one school to another. Passing the trash was what they popularly called it.
Wow.
It's I saved it somewhere. I've got it somewhere on a hard drive. Kathy Creighton is coming on.
Great.
So when she comes on and introduce her to Bob, I think I'm going to hit the Facebook button, and then we can do whatever we can. Hello, Kathy.
Morning,
You're
Kathy.
outside.
We can't hear you. You're on mute.
You're unmute yourself. There you go. Now say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, good. Let me see how. Okay. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bob and Kathy, say testing 1, 2, 3 or something like that.
Testing, testing.
We can't hear you, Kathy.
Okay. Oh, you know what? You know why? I have to go get my earplugs. I'll be right back. Don't cut me off. Hold on.
Won't cut you off, but I am going to go on Facebook because it's that time. Our fans are waiting. So live on Facebook. This is so easy. I can't believe how easy. I mean, it's one of the few things that's easy on a computer. Zoom is beginning to get it right, I think, now that the pandemic's, oh, God knows where the pandemic's going to go.
Right. Yeah. Now I should learn how to do that, because it would be interesting to record some of the things that or meetings that I have.
Uh-huh.
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, there it is. I'm using 2 screens. That's part of the reason. And I forgot to look at the other screen. Go live. Livelier and livelier discussion. I think we are now. Bob, just FYI, we continue to debrief about these things after we go offline for Facebook. But I do want to say goodbye to our Facebook friends, and thank you for joining us. And I think I'll just give a simple blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and let his face shine on you and give you his peace, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And so
Amen.
God bless you all on Facebook, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Okay, Facebook is no longer with us.
Okay.
So, well, we did have a lively discussion.
No, it's good. I mean, these issues are so necessary to talk about, because they are difficult, and there are no right or even wrong answers, because people have different circumstances on such a broad spectrum that it's not something you can do in a black and white fashion. And so it makes it all the more difficult to arrive at any consolidated answer, I think.
Yeah, I need to say, I think that trying to look at it in terms of answers is probably fruitless.
Yes,
Uh, I think it is quite possible for us to strongly uphold our faith, our doctrine, our teaching, the particular moral prescriptions that are part of our traditional understanding, both of creation and of revelation, but to recognize that when we are dealing with conversion of heart, when we are dealing with helping people navigate through their own particular situation, to live life as well as they can in relationship not only to themselves but to God and to community, you don't accomplish anything by throwing doctrine at them.
right.
What you may end up doing is alienating further, because you're using doctrine as ammunition.
Yeah,
And boy, I nailed it. I really I really demolished their argument. But did you change their hearts?
right.
Or did they just become more antagonistic? Now, but the point I'm leading to is Pope Francis said we have to look at this from a different angle, and mercy and compassion has been the hallmark of his way of dealing with people who are involved in what we might otherwise say is immorality. And the model that he uses is accompaniment, companionship. In other words, we can only bring about change by joining hands with the other person and saying, let's walk together on this. Let's discern all of the implications together. And I think that's what's behind his famous "Who am I to judge" statement.
Mhm.
You know, you don't let go of the other person. You don't drive them away. You don't condemn them, but you look for all of the opportunities to join with them. And the first requirement there is, when you're dealing with a sinner, let's stick with that with that word, as difficult as some of us might find it, but when you're dealing with a sinner, your opening gambit, your opening line has to be, I am a sinner too.
Mhm.
So, fellow sinner, let's walk together and see if we can illuminate one another's path. Illuminate one another's path a little bit. And I think that's been what Francis has gained a lot of admiration for, as well as a lot of criticism for not putting doctrine first, but putting companionship first. And
Well, I
he
kinda
does it
like-
imperfectly.
Well, and that just goes back to the woman caught in adultery. So who
Precisely.
is going to throw the first stone? You
Yeah.
know, who's the non-sinner that's going to throw the first stone? I mean, it's that in a nutshell. And I think if you keep that ahead of you, then you're not so ready to judge the other side and, like you say, create that argument that shuts everybody down and
Mhm,
turns everybody off.
mhm.
I wanted to say that a good friend of dogma is apologetics. And I've been telling my groups for I don't know how many years that I've had enough of dogma as solving anything, like you said exactly. And apologetics, yes, I could memorize all this stuff to have all the answers like that, but it doesn't do me any good to go out and think that I can change an atheist into a Christian person. I'm not honoring the other person. He's got a better religion than I have, probably. I don't know.
well, that's, and I think we have to withhold that judgment that we are better than they are because we believe such and so and they don't.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and Tom, I have to refer back to a time when you were at Good Shepherd and we had all those meetings with all those groups that we divided up into the different ministries. And I had a few people in the one I was in that, I mean, I can remember who had converted from, Protestantism or evangelicals or whatever. And I mean, it was this marketing drive of like, how do we bring them in and how are we going to get them to come and how are we going to do it? And we got to get them in the door. And I go, well, that's never been the way we did things. You just model yourself and, you don't hit them over the head with the frying pan. You maybe serve them a fried egg instead. And so, it's that I think we need to go back to this, this hard drive of, we got to bring more Catholics in the door to let's just be who we are and shine and be that without this pounding people on the head about it, and I think it works into what Bob says too, this idea that, we have to, do all the theology and the apologetics instead of just dealing with each other as human beings and fellow sinners.
Precisely. Shall we call it a day?
Okay.
Sure.
So
Did you see we got, I love this message that we got. I didn't see it till just now. Have you seen it? What Kathy wrote to us?
what
In the
Kathy-
chat?
I think I'll have to, I don't think I ever got that. Nobody ever said that about me.
that you were
You're so-
interested?
You're so interesting. Okay.
Here, what message?
Oh, in the chat where she
Oh,
says,
in the chat?
let's go back to work. So interesting, guys. That
Oh,
one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I never got such a compliment in all my life. In all my ministry, nobody ever said, hey, I'm going to go back and listen to those guys are interesting. Now, does he mean guys or does he mean guys?
Well,
Or does she mean
think-
guys, G-U-I-S-E?
yeah, well, no, I think she's using guys in the inclusive sense rather than. So
Okay, I'll let you go.
whatever.
And I still use that too.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm always conscious. Well, am I being inclusive or exclusive? And
Yeah, I know. It's this part, just one last point, this parsing out. And I said something in some Facebook thing the other day, and somebody else had mentioned something of that nature. And I can't remember whatever it was I was listening to, this parsing out of all this stuff like, who's the immigrants, who's the Hispanic, who's the Black, who's the white, who's the, the person of color, who's the, the male, who's the female. And you get into this diversity separation rather than this inclusiveness, because everybody's recognizing their own positionality and where they stand as an identity, the whole identity politics thing, instead of coming together and saying, well, we're all Americans, we're all in this together, let's get together and do the work that needs to be done. And I get so upset with some of that. It's important in many respects, but leave it behind when you start dealing with each other on a one-on-one basis, which people seem to forget about these days because we're so busy second guessing ourselves. Oh my God, did I say the right word? Or, like an LGBT community now, there are those people who refer to themselves as they, which is really difficult to remember. He and she is a little different, but they is really, sort of, you have to think about it, So anyway, just as a last thought, and it turns us all, unfortunately, into victims instead of working together in unity to know, recognize each other as individuals, period.
amen.
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 On that, Bob, just to let you know, what I usually do is over the next hour or two, and I'm going out for a belated birthday lunch today at probably around within an hour, so it might not happen until later today. But I've recorded all that we do on Zoom. By the way, right now, we are available on Facebook. So you go to my Facebook page and it's there. But what I do is edit the Facebook part of this, the public, shall we say, part of the talk. And I put that on YouTube publicly. And then I splice together what we talked about before and what we talked about afterwards and put it on YouTube privately, just for the team. So
you're the editor.
I'm the editor.
Well, it's yours. It's your show. You can do what you want.
That's right. But it can also be a pain in the, you know what?
All right, I have to go. See you next week.
Yeah.
Bye, Bob.
All right. Take care.
Fantastic.
God bless, Bob. Bye. And Jan, God bless you.
You too.
And
Have a good week, Father. Have a good lunch. Happy birthday.
thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.